people look at it from the perspective of the old software inventors. So you would have, I mean, I'm giving you a very, very sort of a blunt example. I mean, in a country which has been pounded by terrorism from the moment of its birth, which is us. When other people say, oh, that's not important, what is important is you shouldn't shut down the internet under any circumstances. That's actually, there is both a political and a semi-cultural judgment out there. So how do you actually put your case? How do you convince other people? How do you get other countries to follow you? So again, when my example I gave, the independence of mind during this whole Ukraine and the kind of pressures we came under. A lot of countries do not have the ability to say, yes, I will stand up and do what is right for my people. So to me, there's both this hardware, software problem that faces us.
Since we're speaking of terrorism, you said that victims of terrorism do not sit together with perpetrators of terrorism to discuss terrorism. Yet the Pakistani foreign minister was invited to India for the SCO in Goa, where he said India is weaponizing terrorism to score diplomatic points. First, should we have invited Pakistan at all to the SCO summit in Goa? And second, how can we move forward if this is the attitude of Pakistan towards terror?
No, look, we invited the Pakistani foreign minister because there was an SCO foreign ministers meeting, and when it comes to multilateral meetings, you invite people to discuss that subject. Okay? So he was invited in his capacity as a representative of Pakistan to put across his views on matters pertaining to the SCO. We could differ, he may have his own viewpoint, I may have my own viewpoint. There's an SCO meeting room in which we would exchange, differ. That's one thing. But if you look at what were his public utterances outside in the press conference and other interviews, he's not spoken about the SCO at all. He's spoken about everything else pertaining to India. He's spoken about our politics, he's spoken his past value judgments, from Kashmir to G20 to BBC documentary. I mean, as I said, other than SCO, he's spoken about everything else. So now, what do I do as a host? See, if I have a guest who's a good guest, I'm a good host. But
Mr. Jaishankar, you have been the longest serving ambassador to China and are considered a specialist on Indo-China issues. Rahul Gandhi, in a TV interview, said, you do not understand the threat from China. My question is, do such domestic criticism affect India's ability to negotiate at international forums?
See, I would have offered to take classes on China from Rahul Gandhi. But I discovered he was taking classes on China from the Chinese ambassador. So I asked myself, I may as well go to the original source and talk to them. Look, there is a lot. Unfortunately, foreign policy has become also an arena where in some ways, I'm not innocent, okay? I'm not taking a view that there should not be politics. Today I'm in politics. I know everything in politics is political. I accept that. But I think on certain issues, we have a collective responsibility to at least behave in a way in which we do not weaken our collective position abroad. Okay? To do what we have seen in the last 3 years on China, because often very misleading narratives are put. There are misrepresentations. We had, for example, there was a big to-do about a bridge which the Chinese were building on Pangong Tso Lake, okay, in Ladakh. Now the reality, it was made out as though, see, you lost territory and they're building a bridge. No, the reality was that particular area, first the Chinese came in 1959 and then they occupied it in 1962. But that's not the way it was put across. This happened in case of some of the so-called model villages as well, that they were built on areas which we lost in 62 or before 62. Now, I don't believe, you will very rarely hear me say, in 1962 that shouldn't have happened, or you are wrong, or you are responsible. I mean, what has happened has happened. It's our collective, I would say, failure or responsibility. I do not attribute necessarily a political coloring to it. What I would like to see is actually a serious China conversation. I'm prepared to accept that there are differences of viewpoints on that. But if you reduce it to a kind of slanging match, well, I mean, what can I say after that?
Since you just came back from the SEO conference in Goa, I'm reminded in 2000, last year, you were pushing for the port in Iran, where India would be very deeply involved in its development. I just want to know, why were you pushing so hard for it, and what is its strategic importance?
Look, I'm pushing hard for it because unless something miraculously changes in Pakistan, which I don't expect, I'll have to find a way around that to develop access to Central Asia and beyond. That is why a port in Iran is very important for us. Today there are ports. There is this port called Bandar Abbas in Iran, but it's a very congested port. We would like to have a port much closer to India, that is in eastern Iran, which, if we can work it out with the Iranians, can become a way by which goods can come from India to Central Asia and vice versa. It's been difficult in part because Iran also has come under sanctions. So, many of their companies, are problematic to deal with financially. But we have made steady progress. This time at the meeting, in fact, a lot of the Central Asians, there was, I don't want to mislead you, there was some serious business done in SEO meeting as well. It wasn't just what happened after the meeting. So they asked, a lot of them were very keen, saying, let's develop it. We are willing to chip in. People were interested in connecting their railway lines to what was coming out of that. So if I were to, say, give you a, 5-year, 10-year prediction, I'm sure this will be a very important connectivity sort of route. Not just to Central Asia, possibly even to Russia. Because we have a route called International North-South Transport Corridor, where we go through Iran, link up with, Azerbaijan, go northwards up there. And how to build your connectivity is today a very important part of diplomacy and international relations and international economics.
If you like the video, do like, comment, share and subscribe.